Hey, I'm going to do this video on what I do when I get ready to go on any kind of a trip that I know that I'm going to be gone for more than 2-3 days. And you're recognizing my clothes from my Monday cleaning video. That's because it's the same day. So what I do as far as getting ready to go on a trip, let's begin with what needs to be done so that you don't have any issues when you come back home. Meaning, checking your calendar, knowing when your pay week is, and so forth. Do you have any bills that you have to pay before you go on vacation? So fortunately, it worked out for this trip that we are paid this week. And over the weekend, I took the liberty where I sat down and I wrote out my bills. And so I'm going to go pop those in the mail here today. So that's done. I don't have to be on vacation. Oh, was I supposed to have paid the phone bill, my cell phone bill before I left? Oh, I think that the electric bill was due. I think I forgot to pay it. It's going to be late when we get back. See, I don't have to worry about any of that. And I've always tried to make sure that that's what I do. Any trip that I'm going to be gone 4 days or longer, I always make sure that any bills that have to be paid, I pay those bills. The other thing is, usually when we go somewhere, there's always someone at our house, whether it's a family member that stays home. Like if Harry and I go away on a business trip, if I go with him, you know, I have one of my kids or a couple of my kids where they'll take, you know, days off from work and they take turns, they stay home. Because I don't want to put my dogs in a kennel. I have 4 dogs and I don't want to put all 4 in a kennel. It's expensive. The other thing is when you have, well, it's not even the amount of dogs. I just don't like putting my dogs in a kennel if I don't have to. We put a boxer that we had when we lived in Chicago in a kennel. We were gone on a trip. Seriously, it was a week-and-a-half trip. We were gone for 10 days. My dog barely ate in the 10 days that we were gone. They tried desperately to get her to eat. Sometimes there's that disconnect. You know, the animals will feel that. It's anxiety for them or whatever. And she didn't eat. And when we came back, she looked so bad. I think I even had to take her to the vet. She looked really, really bad. Harry's going to be here. So I'm saying all that to say, because somebody's always here in my house, you have to make sure that you have plenty of food. You have to make sure I check my milk and all of that. So I'm going to be going to the grocery store, you know, this week. And I'm going to be, you know, stocking up on last minute things. Now, Harry, he's not going to cook for himself, but he does drink milk. He eats yogurts and things that I know that he'll eat. You know, he makes toast and he likes bananas and things like that. So, you know, I'm going to make sure that I have the things that he needs on hand so that he's not having to go out and get it. So I do that. The other thing that I do is I always make a list because you tend to forget things. How many times have we gone on a trip and you forget things? Well, that used to happen, but it doesn't happen anymore. It hasn't happened for years because I always make a list. Okay, so on my iPad, in my notes, look, I've got a little list of everything. Whoops, I gotta get back to that. I had a glare. I wanted to be able to see it. So this is my list of things that I know that I'm gonna need. Still is getting a glare. Let's see. Let's put it up like this. So I just titled everything. Okay, for example, clothes. And I don't put down how many shirts or shorts that I need or anything like that because, you know, you have to judge for how long you're going to be there, if you're going to do laundry in between time, and things like that. And this is a standard list that I'm keeping all the time for any kind of traveling that I do. So again, that's a reason not to put how many shirts, how many pairs of shorts, or whatever. You just put it there. You're going on your trip, you know what you need. So for my shoes, I need to take a pair of sneakers with me, and obviously I'm going to need some socks. I'm going to take some flip-flops too, because it does get a little bit warm down there, so even at this time of year. So I'm going to put some flip-flops in my suitcase too. But for where I put my hair and my makeup, so like these are all the things I need: my shampoo, conditioner, and all this. I put my meds in here too, because I keep my vitamins upstairs in my bathroom. So when I'm in my bathroom gathering all this other stuff, I'll get my vitamins. I take extra Band-Aids, lots of Band-Aids, because, you know, especially walking at Disney World, sometimes you get blisters on your feet and that sort of thing. So I take that. I always want to have Tylenol. Like I take my inhaler, my allergy meds, you know, things like that. Then under my electrical, I got my laptop, my mouse, my earbuds. I take a mouse. I hate using that little thing that's, you know, I don't like that, so I use a mouse and a mouse pad. So anyway, I need my earbuds, my camera, my cords, my battery charger, like this. So I've got all my phone chargers, just everything, all my cords that I need. I have them in here. Anyway, so I got all my electrical things that I need. Then I have here for Alex's diaper bag. So, and I put birth certificate there because a lot of times when infants are flying, you need the birth certificate, but he's considered a toddler now at 15 months, and I called the airline. They don't need the birth certificate. I don't know if you guys knew that. I didn't know that, because when my kids were all babies, you just got on an airplane with them. But now, because of all the security stuff, you know, they change things, and so I'm glad I checked that out with the airline. I understand that some airlines will accept you taking a picture with your phone with the birth certificate, but some airlines want the birth certificate. So, but anyway, I called, we're flying American Airlines, and they said you don't need a birth certificate at his age. So anyway, that's something that I can eventually just take off of there. But I got like all of his toys and his DVDs, and I'm going to take a couple packs of wipes, one pack of wipes for, you know, wiping him, but then another pack so we have extra wipes. So like when we're at the park, if he were to spill something, you need to clean him off. Or sometimes, I know when we're at Disney World, I usually take sanitary wipes with me, because your hands always get like real sweaty and stuff, and you're touching things, and then like, you know, oh look at there's this oh, I want to have a funnel cake or whatever, and then your hands are dirty, you're having to find a bathroom and that. But if you have wipes, you just wipe your hands. So I usually carry some disinfectant wipes anyway, so I'm just going to take a couple packs of wipes, and then that way, you know, we're good on that. Then Alex's suitcase, which I finished packing his socks and his onesies. I showed you that in another video, so that's all taken care of. And then this is just my miscellaneous stuff. My Mickey jacket. I have a Mickey Mouse sweat jacket that I'm going to take for in the evenings if it's cold, or if it's cool during the day. My magic bands, all my itinerary, my money. Again, I don't need the birth certificate, but you know, we need to make sure we have our driver's license. And I'm going to bring some snacks for the plane, because I don't pay for my snacks, and they don't give you snacks anymore unless you're on really, really long flights. So usually in my purse I stick some of those like peanut butter cheese crackers, like, you know, stuff like this. Or like some mixed nuts or something. Alex is going to have graham crackers in his diaper bag, so it's stuff like that. So, and I got to pick up, you know, some of those things when I'm at the grocery store too. Anything else that needs to be done, other than, you know, like going grocery shopping, paying your bills. For example, when we go on vacation, sometimes, you know, we want to go and make sure that, you know, we get travel size deodorant or whatever, or you need new deodorants. A lot of times I buy new socks for us. I actually even bought new socks for me to go down there. We did that yesterday. Carly and I went yesterday, and we just got it out of the way. I didn't want to wait until this weekend to do it, because this weekend, you know, there's going to be other things that I'm going to want to make sure that everything's done, like my house is totally clean and, you know, different things like that. So I don't put things for the last minute. Another reason to not put things for the last minute is because you never know. You just never know. You never know if some kind of an emergency pops up. You never know when something's going to happen. That's going to put a delay in your day, in other words. And so for that reason, I don't wait for the last minute to try to get every single thing done. I'm always doing things a week ahead of time. It's just like when I plan for the holidays. Everything's done accordingly ahead of time. So all my last minute, like shopping for things that I know that I needed to get, you know, more little smaller toothpaste tubes and things like that. Carly and I went out yesterday and did that. That's the other thing too. Any kind of errands that you need to take care of, you know, get those things done as early as you can, because closer you get to the end of the week, there's going to be other things that you want to do. For example, like I got to get my roots all touched up. I got to get my hair done. I've scheduled that for Friday, so that will be, you know, right a couple days before we leave. Okay, a couple of things here I wanted to point out too, especially for my Disney trip. I purchased this little mini mouse suitcase several years ago when I was there, because I saw a little girl with it and I thought, that is just too cute. They had a little backpack too, and I got that. The only reason why I don't really use it is because it's pretty small. I can't get a lot of things in there. But this, remember I showed you until I could get a suitcase for Alex, which I got his Miles from Tomorrowland suitcase down there. I had his things in here temporarily. And this, like I said, I had bought it because I had bought some glassware and some dishes, well, bowls actually, when I was down there, and some mugs, and I didn't want them to get broke. I didn't want to put them in my suitcase. And the reason why I didn't want to put it in my suitcase, because when you go to the airport, you know you have to pay, what is it, like $25 just to board your suitcase now. And they go by the weight. And when you're down there, especially if you're buying, like, you know, clothes or anything else like that, stuff like, you know, those kinds of things that you can put in your suitcase, you don't want to keep putting other things in there, because it'll make your suitcase all the more heavier. Okay, so that's why I didn't want to put glasses, the mugs. I didn't want to put the bowls that I had bought in there, because even if I had them wrapped really well, of course they're still going to make my suitcase really heavy. So I bought this because this is a travel size. I could take that on the plane with me. And Disney, when you buy glassware, they wrap that stuff up so good. Another thing that you can do when you're going on a trip, anywhere where you know that you're going to stay and for a period of time, you're going to want to buy a lot of souvenirs and bring them back. It doesn't matter where you're going. It could be anywhere. It's not just Disney World, anywhere. And you're going to buy things and you want to bring it back home. Make sure when you're packing your suitcase initially to go down to wherever it is that you're going, don't bring your entire house with you. In other words, you know, like, you know, oh, what if I need this? Oh, what if I need that? And the more what if I need, and you're packing all of those things, you're adding weight to that suitcase, so that you have less weight in your suitcase, so you can bring some things back in your suitcase. That's why I try to pack as light as possible. Most hotels now have hair dryers, you know, in them, so there's no reason to bring like a portable hair dryer, you know, so that's off the list. It's things like that. Your shirts, your clothes, all of that. Especially if you know you're going to do laundry midway, you know, wherever you're at. So like if you're going to be gone, say, for 5 or 6 days, you don't need 5 or 6 shirts. If you know that after about 3 days you're going to do some laundry, I always try to do laundry no matter where I'm going. Even if I'm visiting a relative, I always try to do laundry because I don't want to bring dirty clothes back with me. So I do laundry like part way through, you know what I'm saying? So then those clothes are now clean. You can wear them again. It's that sort of thing. So you just have to plan ahead like that. So I wanted to show you this. To take like an empty carry-on bag, you can do that so that you're not putting a lot of things in your suitcase to weight your suitcase down. If you're going to Disney, whether you've been there before or you've never been there before, take it from somebody who's been there too many times. I can't even count anymore how many times I've been there. And I've been there with all my kids being little babies except Joe and Carly. I think the first time that we went down there, Adam was 4 months old. Carly was 2. I think she was 2 or just turned 2 because they're 20 months apart. I think she had just turned 2 because we went in the summer. And Josiah had just turned 4. But Adam went as an infant. Brian went as an infant. And we learned with taking Adam, don't take a stroller. Do not take a stroller. That's my recommendation. I mean, if you want to take a stroller, obviously take a stroller. But I recommend don't ever take a stroller. The reason why, because when you get to the park, and especially when you're leaving, if you've stayed like trying to enjoy all of the hours of being there, especially at night, you want to stay for the fireworks, you want to stay for the parades that they have, like when we go down, they're going to have the electric light parade. They just finished the Christmas one. They have always nice parades. If you stay to see all of those things and to ride rides as much as you can until it's time for the park to close, when you start leaving the park, everybody else that's leaving too, and the majority of the park is leaving. Very few people think to leave ahead of time. I've learned now, you leave ahead of time. You leave an hour to an hour and a half before the park closes. Even then, the lines at the monorail will start to back up. So when you are trying to get through crowds and crowds of people to get onto the ferry, to get onto the monorail, and you have a stroller and you're trying to keep up with your family, and people are next to you, trying to cut in front of you, all of these sorts of things, it is hard to maneuver that stroller. So it's best not to have it. If you have a stroller, another person's going to carry the child, and then you're going to have to collapse the stroller, and then you're going to have to lug that stroller, you know, with everything else that you might have, a diaper bag, or if you've bought any souvenirs and you have bags of that. Anyway, you can get pretty weighted down, and it's an inconvenience. It's just best not to have the stroller. That's my opinion. We learned that because we did take the stroller with Adam, and it was a pain. When Brian came along, we rented strollers. You just learn. So anyway, what we have, and this is good if you have an infant or if you have someone that's your child's, you know, Alex is age 15 months or even up to 2 years. I think it's up to 40 pounds. It's this backpack. And you can find these anywhere. They sell them at Walmart, I think Target, Toys R Us, Babies R Us. They sell them. Okay, and I think that they hold, the weight is up to 40 pounds. You can carry the child in the front. You can carry him in the back like a backpack. And Joe is going to be the one carrying Alex, is his son, and he's already tried this on and loosened all the straps. That's the other thing. Don't take it out of the box and throw it in your suitcase and get to the park, because then you're going to find that the straps are all tight and all of that. Put this thing on before you get there. And then that way, all you got to do is just put these on with the little clips and snap, and away you go. Here it is, the belt. So you clip it. So in other words, when we get to the park, as soon as you walk in, you go to the stroller rental. We're going to rent a stroller. If you go from Magic Kingdom to Epcot to whatever, you're going to hop through the parks, that's okay. Because you get your little ticket that they give you for the strollers. And then when you get to the next park, you just show it, you get another stroller. You just pay one time for the entire day. And I think it's $15 for the stroller rental, I think. I think that's what it was the last time I saw it. But anyway, so we'll rent the stroller. When we leave and you're on the way out, you drop the stroller back off. At that point, that's when Joe puts this on, puts Alex in the back, and he carries him piggyback through the park. One other thing that I wanted to share with you guys too, it's important to book things ahead of time. Like if you're going to go to very touristy places, in other words, or places that you've been to before and you know how things kind of operate. Like we've been to Disney, like I said, so many times. We know how it all, operates and what you need to do. When you want to get into some of the really nice restaurants to eat at, it's best to book ahead of time. When, for example, Be Our Guest, that restaurant opened a few years ago when they opened the new part of Fantasyland, and we went, and we went to try to get in. You couldn't get in. So the next year, we tried to book ahead of time. And I think I called like 6 weeks before our trip. Everything was booked for that time. We couldn't even get in. As a matter of fact, because we planned this trip on spur of the moment this time, we planned it a month before we were going to leave. We called right away to start booking at some of the restaurants that we wanted to eat at. Be Our Guest was all booked. We couldn't get in. The only thing that they had for us was Thursday for breakfast, so we took it. I mean, we would prefer to have eaten their lunch or dinner, but if breakfast is the only time we could get in, we took it. So that's something else to keep in mind too, and especially if you're going to go to Disney, some of the most popular restaurants that people eat at a lot, you need to make sure that you book. We also found this out by happen circumstance. Sometimes calling Disney to book things for some of the restaurants that are like in downtown Disney. I'll just use like the T-Rex, for example. I think if you book through Disney, say they give Disney, I'm assuming this is how it works, that they get like so many, slots, a time frame that they can put people through. Because we tried to get in. We checked for every single day that we were there. We checked lunch hours, dinner hours. The closest thing that we could get for one day was 9:30 at night. Well, I don't want to be eating 9:30 at night. So that was through Disney. But what my daughter did here over the weekend, she actually called the T-Rex restaurant itself, and she got a booking. The big fun thing that we're going to eat at Monday, because we'll be at Magic Kingdom, so we'll eat at the park too for lunch, but for dinner we're going to eat at T-Rex. And then Tuesday we'll be at Epcot. We're going to eat dinner at Mexico, so I booked that. For lunch, I don't know what we're going to do. We'll be at Epcot, but I don't know where we're going to be in the park, so we just left that open. And then Wednesday we're going to be over at the Animal Kingdom. So I booked for Yak and Yeti for lunch. Then after we're done there, we'll probably go to Magic Kingdom for the evening hour, so we'll probably just get something to eat over there. And then Thursday, we're eating our breakfast at Be Our Guest, so we'll be at Magic Kingdom. For that, we'll spend part of the day there, then we'll probably leave and then go over to Hollywood Studios. So I don't know if the kids will want to eat there. Personally, it's a lot of burgers and stuff over there. We've never really eaten there, but just a couple times. We really don't like it so much. We might go back to downtown Disney and maybe then try to go to Rainforest Cafe or something so that Alex can see that too. On any bookings that you do, so like the day that we called and we were booking things, we wrote it down on a sheet of paper. All the times, Disney, for every restaurant, you will get a different confirmation number. It's not like, oh, okay, you're booking at all these things, here's a confirmation number. No, every restaurant has its own confirmation number. And, if you decide that you're not going to be able to make it, or you decide you don't want to eat there, you have to call 24 hours in advance to cancel it. So we wrote all of that stuff down initially on a sheet of paper. And I folded that up and I have it in my wallet. But you always want to back up, because what would happen if I lost that sheet of paper or something, So Carly also went and plugged it into her phone, in her notes in her phone, so she has that. So that's the other thing. Anytime that you have anything with confirmation numbers, just like my itinerary for the airport, for Disney, everything that comes through on your email, that's, your confirmation that you need that information upon checking in for your flight when you get to Disney World. For us, or like hotels, if you're going somewhere else it's a hotel, whatever, any confirmations, Don't just print it off of your computer and take a copy with you. Have at least 2 copies. And so I'm going to have 1 copy for myself, and then I'm going to have another copy that Carly will carry, because you never know. That's the thing. You never know in life. You never know if you're going to lose something. So it's always good to have a backup with you. All right, something else that you want to keep in mind as well. When you're traveling, you need to make sure that all of your identification is up to par. For example, I know I had to get my driver's license renewed last year, and I knew that all the kids, they would be coming along to have to get their driver's license renewed. And that was the one thing, as soon as I booked the vacation back early December, I had said to everybody, do you guys have to get your driver's license renewed before we go on vacation? And actually, Carly, she had to get hers renewed. We went a couple weeks later and got that renewed. Brian had just said, I just got mine renewed. So see, I knew that some of my kids were also coming up not too long after me. So they made sure and they took care of that. So, because you got to remember, you can't get on a plane unless your driver's license is valid. The other thing is, if you travel internationally, you always want to, check your passport and make sure your expiration date on that is good. Now, my passport, matter of fact, all of my family, we have to go get our passports renewed. And I need to get mine renewed because if Harry goes on a business trip overseas, and if it's somewhere that I want to go, I have to have my passport ready to go. So since I know that my passport has already expired, it expired on my birthday, I have to go this year. Obviously, this is one of my goals for 2016 and early 2016 is I want to get my passport renewed. And my kids, like I said, their passports are going to have to be renewed too. So they're going to have to make it a priority to get that done. Because even if you just wanted to go to Canada or something, or if they wanted to take a cruise or something like that, you have to have your passport. So that's the other thing. Check all of your identification, passports, driver's license. Is everything ready to go by the time that you go for your trip? Because there's nothing like getting to an airport to find out, oh, I forgot that I had to renew my driver's license, and they don't let you on the plane. Or, oh, I forgot I had to renew my passport and I forgot to do it, and you can't get on the plane. So, because they won't let you on the plane. Here's another travel tip. When you're traveling and you are taking cash, like we take cash, we used to take some traveler's checks, but then you got to cash them in and all of that, and so we just take cash with us. But I don't carry all the cash on just me. That's dangerous to do that. One person being in charge of all the money. Because if you lost your wallet, if you were robbed or anything like that, then there's no money. So what I usually do is I take about 1/3 of the money that we have, I give it to my husband, and I let him keep that portion of it. Then what I do is I take the other 2/3 of the money, and what I do is I always bring more money than I think that I need. The reason why you do that, because just in case, you see something that you would really like to have, so that you feel comfortable that you're not strapped, like, oh, I only got this much money to spend. This is my spending money. That's it. It can put a lot of pressure on you. And if there's things that you want, you should just be able to get it, as long as, it's priced within reason and you can afford to do it. So what I do is this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I organize my money. And usually Harry's with me, so I give him 1/3 of the money and I keep the other 2/3. And what I do with that, of that 2/3 that I have, I take $500 and I set it aside. Because I'm figuring between what Harry has and what I have, and we work from that. My $500 is my reserve money. It's my extra money that I take just in case, because you never know if you want to eat at a nicer restaurant, so it's going to cost more money, or you want to spend a little bit more money on souvenirs this time, that sort of thing. So that you're not, really tight with your money and, oh, I wonder if I can, get this, and did I bring enough money, and that sort of thing. I just budget what I think I'm going to spend, and then I tack on $500 to that. And so this is what I do. Okay, first of all, make sure you take all of your insurance cards with you, because you never know. And then these are just like store cards, grocery store, Costco, that sort of thing. These are credit cards and so forth. This is my rewards card. I'm bringing that. With my Disney Visa, you get reward dollars for so much money that you spend. But anyway, I have this little pocket here and this pocket here. And this is usually where I'll keep my extra $500 right in here. In this front part, I have a pocket there that has my itinerary. This will keep all of my receipts that I'm going to save and hold on to. And then in this pocket here and this pocket here is where I take, okay, so the 2/3 of the money that I have, $500, goes here in the front. And then here and here, I take the rest of the money that I have and I divide it in half. And so what I do is I work from that. So like the back pocket, okay, this is what I'm going to use for Monday, Tuesday, going into Wednesday. And then when I come then to that front pocket, this is for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And of course, that's, working off of what Harry has too, like, sometimes I'll just say, you go ahead and get dinner, from your wallet, things like that. And that way it keeps us on track. And then hopefully then we don't dip into that extra, $500 that we bring. So I have one more travel tip that I can think of offhand. And you pretty basically can do this with all vacations that you go on. The thing is, if you like using a travel agent, then continue to do that. When you use a travel agent, you have to pay the travel agent, and that fee is included in your overall price. As far as Disney World is concerned, if you are booking, you can book everything through Disney. If you're going to fly, like we're flying, you can book through Disney. You can book your rental cars through Disney. The only issue that I have found in doing that, you actually will pay more money booking everything through Disney. And I know because I have done that. Most of the time I have booked everything myself. I call Disney, I book the room, tell them, what kind of tickets and the park hopper and how many days and all that. I tell them all of that info. And then I would just set that up with them. I would call the airline and all of those things myself. But the last few times that we've gone, I've just let Disney do everything, just book everything through there. I went to do that even this time. And when it came to the airlines, I was like, wow, these fares are so high. And I thought, well, because, it's a month away, and the closer you get to the date that you want to fly, the prices and the tickets go up. And I had called Harry and I told him about it, and he said, no. He goes, let me look. And he looked at American Airlines, which is one of the airlines that you can book, through Disney. And he was telling me, these tickets are only $276 a person, where when I was looking them up, they were between $400 and $500, like $450 or a little bit higher. It was close to almost $500 a person for a ticket. So with 5 of us going, 5 adults, then do the multiplication, and you can see how much we were going to be charged. Well, now it's only $276 because we did it on our own. So multiply that by 5 and then subtract from the other, and you'll see how much we're saving alone right there just in booking all of that ourselves. I just wanted to share that last tip about make sure that if you're booking Disney, you're booking your tickets, you're booking your resort, whatever, do all of that through Disney. But when it comes to flying and you're going to get rental cars and all of that, it's better to go and do that on your own and do it separate, because you do save money. So that is my video for my travel tips. And if I think of any other ones in my vlogs later this week, I'll incorporate them in. But those are, pretty much, I guess, what I'm going to share with you guys on, what I do for traveling. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.